Yeah, so without any further delays, we are going to request the Premier to take us through the visit that is just undertaken, and thereafter we'll entertain some engagements with you on the media. May I request the Premier? Over to you, Premier.
Thank you, colleagues. We wish to extend our greetings to all of you. We are here as the Executive Council, the government of KwaZulu-Natal, with MECs, MEC Shomuga for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, MEC Nkonyeni for Transport, Community Safety and Liaison, as well as His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Kawunda. You are all aware of the severe floods that took place a day before yesterday, affecting a number of areas, especially the severe affected areas are areas the southern part of Durban, specifically the Bluff area. The other parts that were affected are the northern part of Durban, which is where we are here in uMlazi, and then the Lamesi, Sitite and Tongat areas. We are thankful that in these areas no one was reported to have died, though we have received one body which could be ascribed to be caused by these floods at our mortuary, Phoenix mortuary. We have seen the damage is huge. The first, it's infrastructure on roads, M4, which was already closed due to the fact that the previous floods that took place in April affected the bridge, the Lamesi bridge. But also the road got affected, severely damaged between Lamesi and Sitite, and it is impossible to use that road for a while, for today, and we are working to ensure that we fill that gap or that hole that was eroded, the soil that was eroded there. We'll fill it and ensure that by the end of the day or tomorrow the road is reopened. But you also know that that road will need to be tarred again, and that will take place in the due course. The department will continue to work on that. We were also trying to start repairing the damage on the bridge itself. That started, but it is still going to take time. It might take us another month to have uMlazi bridge or the Lamesi bridge fixed and properly repaired. Then there is a bridge between Tongat and Zimbali, and that will take us some time because of structural damage that happened, huge structural damage. That will take us some time. We think it might take us close to 6 months, but we will work to expedite the rebuilding, reconstruction of that road. And MEC Nkonyeni and the department are working together with Sandral to ensure that we speed up the reconstruction of that road. We want to also send our message of sympathy to all people who were affected. Number of people lost property. The houses around here in uMlazi were severely damaged. And we want to send our sympathies to the residents of uMlazi. But also we know that some people are still living in shelters, such as those who are from around Lamesi and Tongat. And that's why also the Department of Human Settlement is with us to ensure that those people are housed properly. For now, they are still in temporary shelters, but the plans to rebuild the houses for them is on the way. We will get them into temporary shelters. The temporary units which we use to house people who are displaced. And then later we will ensure that houses are built for all affected communities. In the south, we have received a detailed briefing, though we will still be going there later, but we can report that what was damaged are properties around Bluff in particular. Fortunately, there was no further damage in the industrial park where Toyota and other companies are located. We are saying fortunately because they sustain severe damage, which will cost huge of money to repair. And we are thankful that no damage was done in their properties. The process of rebuilding is still going to continue as we initially planned. The only thing is that there will now be added responsibilities which will need to be undertaken. We already have teams that are assessing the damage in each and every area, and that will be incorporated in the reports that we have already compiled and submitted to the national government. Silana namuhla ukuzobheka zonke lezi indawo ezikhahlamezwe isimo sezulu kusukela ngomgqibelo kuze kuba izolo. Izolo siqalile sisebenzisana nomnyango wakwa transport, umnyango wakwa Cocta, as well as umnyango waka human settlement nomasipala wethi usibheka ukuthi indawo la bekungakwazi ukungeneka khona kuyavulwa kuzanywe ukuthi abantu bakwazi ukungena nabaphumayo bakwazi ukuphuma. Indawo eaffecteke kakhulu kulempela sonto indawo yangale south okuyi indawo yase Bluff okuyiyona eshayeke kakhulu nendawo zangapha north of iTheku okuyindawo yala esikhona eMdloti nendawo yaseLamisi nendawo yaseWestbrook noThongathi. Siyaqhubeka nokulekelela ukuthi abantu abakuma shelters bakwazi ukuthola konke abakudingayo ukudla nakho konke. Kodwa lokhu ku-eda emsebenzini ebesithi siyawenza ukuvuselela. Ngokwe infrastructure limele ukokuqala i-bridge laseLamisi ilona belishayekile lingasebenzi. Umnyango waka transport ubusuqalile uthi uyalungisa. Loyo mzamo nalokho bese kwenziwe nakho uhambe nezikhukhula. Kodwa ke sizoqhubeka kuleli sonto sikholwa ukuthi esikhathini esingangenyanga i-bridge eliconnecta uMdloti neLamisi lizobuyiseleka esimeni. Kodwa sibonile futhi ukuthi uM4 between iLamisi noThongathi nawo ushayekile. Lokho kukhanda ukuthi kube likhulu ukuthi usebenze kunamuhla. Kodwa sikholwa ukuthi leyo part izokwazi ukuthi ivaleke kuleli sonto ze abantu abahlala endaweni yaseLamisi bakwazi ukungena baphume bengavalelekile. Enye indawo esibhekayo i-bridge between uThongathi neZimbali. Lona ke kubukeka kuzosithatha isikhathi esithe xaxa ngenxa yomonakalo omkhulu owenzeke kulo. Kungase kusithathe isikhathi esicela ku6 months. Siyafisa futhi ukuzwelana nabantu bala isikakhulukazi lapha eMdloti abalahlekelwe impahla zabo, imoto, izindlu abahlala kuzo njengoba sibona umonakalo ube mkhulu. Nomasipala uzongena endlekweni ezinkulu ngoba siyabona nje i-infrastructure kamasipala la bebenza bekwazi ukuphehla khona amanzi bawadlulisele ebantwini ibuye futhi yacekeleka phansi. Okubi ukuthi lokhu ku-eda emonakalweni obuvela ukhona lo ebese siqala sithi siyawulungisa. Kodwa noma kunjalo sizozama ukulungisa senze i-assessment esheshayo sikwazi ukuthi isimo silungiseke indawo ibuyele kwezinye. Siyabonga.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier. Let's just take a quick question.
No, Premier, thanks. Firstly, I just want to find out how far back have these floods actually set us in the recovery efforts? Well, sorry, the recent rains, how far back has it set us as a province in terms of recovering from the April floods? Secondly, when it comes to the accommodation of those that have been displaced, You said that there are plans for temporary housing to come into play, but there were also issues around, I know we had like a deadlock with some residents that were complaining about where houses go and all of that. Has that been resolved? And I think lastly, on that point, how many more people would be added as a result of these rains to those that are currently displaced? I remember that figure being about 40,000. Thank you.
On top of his question around those displaced, do we have a figure of people possibly missing? Have any of those reports come in at this stage?
There was a circulating Facebook post, Premier, that says Sihle Zikalala was also affected by the recent floods. Can you confirm, was it really a Sihle Zikalala post, but also to what extent were you affected if it was?
Okay. There's another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, owamembuzo nginankulo ukuthi ngeza ukukhuluma ngama-bridge destroyed njengamanje, but information engisanda kuyithola kune-bridge nayo kulona endlebe that was destroyed ogunjini, kunemoto emuke nabantu. That bridge nalithe nizolungisa in 1 month and 6 months and 3 months, but njengamanje akukenzelile. Mhlawumbe how far ngalokho?
Okay. Thank you. If I can start, there were reports which were also circulating that there were people who were stuck here at uMlazi. Those reports were not confirmed because our teams were on the ground, so they were not a true reflection of what is happening. Those who needed to be evacuated were evacuated using our teams that were on the ground working with communities. We haven't received a report of people who are missing for now, besides the report that the Premier has made reference to of one person from Inanda Waseme who was also discovered on our rivers. That's a person that we can say it's a report that we can confirm, because there is a body which is already in the mortuary. Otherwise, there were no other fatalities reported, as the Premier has alluded to that. The treatment plant, which is behind us, has been severely affected. You'll recall that in the previous disasters in April, we put some remedial measures so that people will start receiving water. So all those have been washed away. So our teams will come back and reinstate some of the work that have been done before to ensure that people do access water in the areas affected. With electricity, many areas which have been affected, we have reinstated them. So we are remaining with few at night yesterday. We are certain that by end of today we'll be certain that all areas will be covered in terms of those which were affected by the recent heavy rains. Thank you.
Thanks. With regard to this severity and the extent on which this is going to take us back, this is going to delay, of course, the rebuilding process. The fact that we had started and the floods took place again on its own meant that the work that was being done had to stop. That was delaying the process. But the worst is that we are incurring more cost because that work that had been done was washed away and the damage is so huge again. So it takes us back, but we'll continue to try and ensure that we repair the infrastructure that is damaged and rebuild it. With regard to Okunjini, we went there with MEC Nkonyeni and the HOD and the team from transport. Indeed, we committed that there will be 2 phases. Phase 1 will be to construct a small bridge to allow people to go, and then phase 2 is to build that bridge that is big. Unfortunately, when phase 1 was to start, in terms of tender process, someone took the matter to court. Hence, it could not start, but they are finalizing it. So the first phase that will be to build that small temporary bridge is expected to start soon, in a month or so. Thereafter, the construction of the main bridge will start. I think all questions have been answered. The one you are asking, it's not a personal issue. I think the community in Lames as a whole was left with no access. We could not, all of us, could not go out or enter So those of us who were in the area had to work to ensure that we clear the roads yesterday, and we managed that by the late I think afternoon yesterday, we managed to clear the road and we're able to again have access in and out of the area. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, colleagues. The rest of the issues will be covered in the statement that we comprehensively. Okay, so we are going to class at the moment. All the specific areas.
Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Sihle Zikalala, they're giving an inventory of what they found to be damaged and just estimates of what the costs will be. But we'll get further information from our colleague Vusi Kumalo on this when we cross to him in a bit.